Across the 12 Olympian gods, there are some pretty awesome powers. In this video, I rank the top 10 coolest demigod powers in Percy Jackson, based on strength, coolness, and usability in today's world. Make sure to stick around till the end where I'll crown one Olympian the winner for having the most of their powers make the list. Starting off the list, we've got Nico D'Angelo's Death Touch ability. While it's not very useful in modern day life, or at least I really hope you won't find it useful, it is one of the coolest powers we've seen in the books, and one of the strongest. Every time Nico uses this power to exile someone's soul to the underworld, or instantly turn monsters into skeletons, he steals the show, which is why Death Touch makes the list. That's also a point for Hades. Having the power to control what other people see would have to be one of the most useful powers one could think of. I mean, your imagination is really the limit here. You can make your teachers see all the right answers on that test you failed, turn yourself invisible, or play the greatest pranks. It is also a pretty powerful ability for demigods, as we've seen people like Hazel and Thalia use it during fights many times. In terms of power, gem control is definitely not an ability that would come to mind right away. While Hazel has used it occasionally during battles, its power and coolness factors just aren't that high. Really, the only reason gem control makes the list is because it basically serves as an infinite money printer, which I'd have to say is pretty useful. Although I guess it's not really infinite as you're limited to how many gems are in the earth, but nevertheless, that's another point for Hades. I know we've all imagined having the power to control water as kids, watching shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender, but Percy's liquid control takes it a step further. Not only does this power come with abilities like breathing underwater, but it also allows you to control any liquid, even blood, making it extremely powerful. Percy even used this power to defeat a goddess in the House of Hades. That being said, I'm not sure how many of us would find this useful in our daily lives, but still, it's a pretty awesome demigod power and a point for Poseidon. Along the same lines as liquid control, fire control is another thing that isn't super useful, unless of course you're a demigod. I think controlling water would actually be more useful, but in my opinion, fire control is a cooler power. Additionally, it's much more rare than liquid control, as Leo was the first demigod to have this power in centuries, and it comes in handy for children of Hephaestus, who are constantly working with fire in forges, or playing with fire-breathing mechanical dragons. Anyways, that's a point for Hephaestus. Flying is definitely among the most desired powers out there. I mean, who wouldn't want to take a break from the world and just hang out in the clouds? Not to mention, flying makes getting around super quick and easy, so it's definitely a useful power. In the realm of Percy Jackson, Jason is able to fly by influencing the wind, so this power kinda comes with airbender powers as well. It's not Jason's primary weapon in a fight, but it usually gives him the mobility he needs to win, which is why I put it in the top 5. It's also Zeus's first point. I don't think I really need to explain Charme speak. Not only is it super powerful, Piper using it to influence a primordial in the blood of Olympus, but it's probably tied with the number 1 on this list in terms of usefulness. Even better than mismanipulation, you can use Charm speak to get pretty much anything you want, which is why it's so high on the list. When someone asks you what superpower you want the most, teleportation almost always falls into the mix. Teleportation is so useful for transportation, as Nico has shown numerous times, using his shadow travel to escape dangerous situations. Unfortunately, in Percy Jackson, shadow travel is not an ability one can use very often. However, Nico has shown that you can train yourself to have more stamina for it. And lastly, I think shadow travel is one of the coolest powers, melting into shadows and whatnot, which is why I put it in the top 3. That's the third point for Hades. Shapeshifting is awesome because it can give you the abilities of any animal. You could turn into a bird, letting you fly, or a fish, letting you breathe underwater, or an eagle, giving you enhanced eyesight. The power really is versatile. You could turn into any animal in the world, even mythical ones like dragons, giving you the necessary abilities for any given situation. If you needed stealth, for example, you could just turn into a chameleon and camouflage yourself, pretty much turning yourself invisible. Shapeshifting can give you literally hundreds of different abilities, which is why it makes the top 2. It's also another point for Poseidon. Believe it or not, Leo Valdez's and every other child of Hephaestus' power of mechanical and technological expertise tops the list. In today's world with so much technology, this would be the most useful power to have. Leo has used it to build things that even modern technology can't replicate. For example, collapsing an enormous metal dragon into a transportable suitcase, or the Argo II, a magical flying warship that can turn invisible. With this power, you could create anything you can imagine, which is why I put it as number 1. And as a cherry on the cake, it also lets you talk with machines. So, the Olympian with the most of their powers on the list is Hades. So, congratulations to all the children of Hades, you guys have some really cool powers. Anyways, thank you all for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time.